Welcome back to Generation XG with myself and Karen Carney. Time to turn our attention now to Stamford Bridge, where Arsenal returned back to the top of the Premier League. Let's go straight to it and have a look at the formations, the two teams selected by the managers. And I think we're at a point now where Mikel Arteta knows his best team. Zinchenko came back into it, but we pretty much can pick his team for him. He doesn't need too much help with his side because they're going so well. Chelsea a little bit different. Graham Potter's come in, he's tried different things. I think we looked about last week at the wing backs and how it didn't work for Chelsea, so he went back to a 4 this week. Aubameyang came into the team up top against his former side at Arsenal, so he's still not quite sure, Graham Potter, is he?
No, and I think that's affecting the performance. I know the results at the start when he came in seemed to work, but they weren't particularly playing well. And now I think it's both catching up, and I think they need to figure out a settled side. And again, maybe the World Cup break will help him figure that out. Yeah,
we like talking XG on this show, and this highlights pretty much how the game went, to be honest. It was a really dominant display by the leaders, Arsenal. If we have a look at the XG, Arsenal 2.11, Chelsea 0.26. Now, obviously, the higher the jump the line, the better the chance. Gabriel's goal obviously leaps that up for Arsenal, but generally they created the better chances across the course of the game compared to Chelsea, who really didn't create anything of any note.
There was no consistency, there was nothing in midfield, there was no connections either. I really struggled to see it on the pitch, and they looked like they didn't know what they were doing at times, especially in the attacking end, and that kind of backed that up.
Now, you've had a good look at Arsenal and what they're doing, what Mikel Arteta's all about, and the identity that Arsenal have got now. Let's talk us through it.
Well, I think we're just going to play this on because it's great. I mean, they don't have the ball in this. They get back on shape really quick. They hunt and press. This is body bang. I think they've lacked that, the physicality at times, and it's a quick play, one touch, confidence, play out of a press, pop it back, out the other side. And now, look, you've beat the press, you're breaking at lines. Again, there's a common theme with Arsenal. They overload the flanks. There's no one centrally in there, and Jesus is on the back shoulder as he eventually comes into him, and he probably should have scored it. And he's really disappointed with that.
Isn't it? It's a team full of confidence, isn't it?
They transition so quickly. Again, they don't have the ball, they're in positions here, but this is about now their shape. Now, I think Mikel Arteta is a defensive-minded coach. They wait, this is a negative pass, this is a sign, and now they start to press. Now, it's how they press. They always block, they go one way, so they block off where it's going to go. It's never, ever going to go that side, and if we play it on slightly, they want to force you into the central pitch, part of the pitch. And again, I'm going to use this. This is where they all are. They're all pretty much in this area. So they want to put you and play you in that. So they block the outsides, they swarm you in, and then they play in there, they give it away, they hunt, they press. There's the physicality, bang, we win it back. And now we're all closer together to build our connections. And that's part of their game plan. Now they filter out. Now we pull Chelsea out.
And now can we play?
Exactly. We have the confidence, everything's 1 and 2 touch. Again, I really like this. They don't have the ball. But what they do is they hunt to win it back. Now, I think a lot of people have showed this clip, but it's really, really good. It highlights, again, the theme in terms of they're off the ball. Jesus there, just highlight him. He arcs his run. He forces them. He forces that way, and he knows, OK, we know now that you're never getting it and you're never getting it. And it actually means we've got 2 players over in how we defend. You're engaged, you're going to go, you're going to squeeze if it goes in there. A little arrow. You're going to squeeze.
They're engaged all over the pitch, aren't they?
And the key thing that I really like is this player. Because if you don't have this player, Saliba, if he doesn't have pace, you can't defend like that. You can't be front-footed because he's like, go on, if you want to play it in there, I'll win you in a foot race.
we saw actually, didn't we, Eric Dyer against Nunez. There was only one winner. Tottenham struggled with that pace in behind them on Sunday, whereas, as you quite rightly say, Arsenal quick enough to deal with that.
Yep, and again, this is their shape. They're all really compact. They want to put you into the central areas. You know what, you might be able to go outside. We're not going to let you, but if you do, it doesn't hurt us. But we want to force you into areas. We win it back. And this is, again, you've got 4, how many attacking players now of Arsenal?
5.
We've got 5, I can't count, thanks, Matt. And they're driving at you. Good shape, narrow, you win it, and you're closer together to hurt. And this, I think, was the corner then. That led to the corner, which led to the goal. But
their 2 midfielders, Xhaka and Ødegaard, really do push high, don't they? Because they've got that licence or assurance, should I say, of Partey behind them.
And yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Zinchenko at the start. I watched him when he was on loan from City at Eindhoven. he was a number 10, so he's naturally always going to come into the central areas. But again, we mentioned at the start of the show, Arsenal constantly want to overload you down the outside. They're not actually interested in like these central areas here.
Yeah.
They're not bothered. They want to pull you apart.
Is this Zinchenko in the middle of the pitch a Pep influence?
Oh, 100%.
Because we've seen, obviously Michael Arteta worked under Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola likes his fullbacks to overload in the middle of the pitch, and Zinchenko's capable of doing that, isn't he?
Well, I think, again, it's his time from Barcelona is you win the game in midfield, and also, whereas the goal, it's in the middle of the pitch. So if you lose it, he's there essentially to swarm it, to win it back and to protect the centre of the pitch. But it's the overloads on the outsides which they always go after. And Jesus in particular, it's from the start of the season, he's never really done it. Again, watch the movement of both. He comes in, he comes out, and he's always occupying that space there. So there's a bit of rotation, but Jesus comes into this little pocket space again.
Difficult to mark, isn't he?
It is, because if he gets that, he's on the half turn.
Well, straight away, if I just take that back very slightly, Chalobah wants to go with him. You see him initially, Jesus makes that move. He goes into midfield, and just keep your eye on Chalobah. He's thinking, I really want to go with him. I really want to go. And then he realises, actually, I can't go all the way in there because I'm leaving that space in behind. So if we play it on slowly, I'll just play this on slowly. He goes in, and now he actually thinks, no, I can't now. I've got to get back into this position here. I've got to get back into here and protect that space in behind. Play it on.
We don't actually give it to Jesus.
But he's in a left-back position.
But then they've gone in a 1v1 in behind. Yeah. But keep an eye on him again. I'm just going to quickly highlight him. Here now. That's Jesus. He started in the area and he come into this position. But now what he does is, because you want Jesus to have so much space, and the rotation allows your best players to have space. Your rotations get your best players in the positions when you can hurt teams the most. Watch him, he just goes in, bang. Now he's in the 18-yard box. He's going 1v1. He gets it across. And again, where is it? They pull you from side to side, Arsenal, wide. They've never really gone through the central areas, Matt. It's constant theme, and we saw it with Liverpool earlier, the split strikers. Teams are quite happy to vacate the middle now. They want to overload you on the flanks.
It's really interesting, actually, when you talk about Jesus and his position, because I asked the question, is this a problem, I think, for Arsenal? Because a lot of his heat map here is out on this left-hand side. Should he not be a little bit more in the central areas? I mean, you're saying he doesn't stay there and he likes to move around, but he hasn't scored now, has he, for, 8 or 9 games?
No.
Is that a problem for Arsenal?
I think it is in terms of his individual stats, but Arsenal will be going, we're doing well.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And I think if, of course, any striker you want, it's because Haaland's come in and he stays in the middle and he gets those balls. But I think you've got to look at Arsenal's evolution and where they're at. And it also means when he goes out wide, people like Xhaka are getting more involved. Other players are getting more goals because they're going into maybe central areas. But we'll see at the end of the season if it's a problem.
OK. What about the goal itself, then? Gabriel's goal. I'll tell you, let's play it on slowly. Let's play it on at quarter speed. Let's have a look at this. Now, set up. So Havertz is in the space, isn't he? Doesn't get there, misses the ball, finds its way to Gabriel, who's quickest to react on the far post, and they end up having a tap in from a yard. We'll get back to, we'll just slow it down again. I'm just going to pause it here and just highlight Cucurella. Now that's not the best. Let's have a look. This is better. Cucurella here. Just keep an eye on him. And now there's a case of not letting your man score and not letting him having any space, which is what he's doing. He's got his arms around his man. But also, you've got to deal with the ball. He's just totally forgotten about the ball. He's just worrying about Xhaka.
Yeah. I think the next angle shows it.
Even more.
This one, I think it would slow it down here. You just see him there. Yeah. Just pause it. Like, what?
I mean,
what is he doing? There's a big one there.
I don't know what he's doing. Because actually, if he leaves Xhaka, he just can deal with that with his left foot and clear the danger. Poor defending, isn't it, from Chelsea? Yeah.
And even though I thought Chelsea were poor in this game, to lose the game actually on that instance where it's responsibilities and not dealing with it. That's disappointing.
Aubameyang's game against his former team. These are the numbers. I mean, it tells its own story. Just 8 touches, 1 shot, 2 touches in the opposition box. Not a good day for him, was it?
No, it wasn't. I actually don't think it was all his fault, actually. I think there was not really, I mentioned earlier, cohesion, connection from the defence to the back line. I think it was a bigger issue than just Aubameyang. And to be fair, you have to praise Arsenal at times. But I think this was their game plan, Chelsea's at time, because Zinchenko goes into those areas. They let him cheat out on the right, Sterling or any wingers in this situation.
His movement here isn't bad, is it?
No, it's spot on. He's in between all the time. He's always moving. He's always alert. But again, he gets slowed down, and then it fizzles out. And what happened in the transition when you're in a good situation?
Yeah.
Again, there's
movement's good again. His movement's decent. It's just the delivery, isn't it? Can he get the right ball there? Play it now. He holds out. Can we get it? No, we can't. So actually, his movement was pretty good at the weekend. He just didn't get the ball, did he?
Do you think, Matt, it's because he's chopping and changing the team so much that they can't build these connections? They don't understand that that's the movement he wants. That's the midfielder that's playing it in. Do you think that's a big factor?
Yeah, it probably is. It's a difficult one for Graham Potter at the moment, isn't it? He's got to try and find the right system, hasn't he, for his team, and the right personnel as well. I'll tell you what, let's go back over to Leroy. I think there's a few things catching in Leroy's eye again. A few more things catching your eye, Leroy.
Yeah, a couple of comments about that game. Chris says Chelsea will still struggle against any team if there's no consistent starting lineup because of injuries. And Nduku Mandela says, at the start of the season, no one even believed Arsenal can finish in the top 4. After watching them in pre-season, I said we could finish in the top 4, but no one accepted that. Are they going to finish in the top 4 now?
At the moment, they're looking absolutely spot on for it, but it's this World Cup. We don't know what players are going to come back in, their shape, the form, their injuries. So it's a really difficult one, but if it was just to play the whole way through, I think they would, yeah. Yeah,
but look, I've seen a weakness. Karen. Look, they're really well coached, Karen.
Weakness?
Brilliantly coached, but this one needs work. This needs work. Zinchenko and throw-ins. They need a throwing coach.
Yes, they do.
Like Jurgen Klopp, because that's poor. That's the only thing. That's the only weakness I can see.
Don't see it very often in the Premier League, do you?
Yes, that's the only weakness I can see at Arsenal at the moment.
Yeah, I'm really interested in what's happening to Chelsea under Graham Potter. I think there's other people have made this point that when you're Brighton manager, you can play, you can have lots of touches on the ball, you can create a lot, you can make beautiful patterns on the pitch without really being any end product. And people say, aren't they playing really well because they don't expect it from Brighton? When you're at Chelsea, not just to do that, but to deliver as well. And it feels as though the similar problems that were at Brighton, partly down to lack of a striker who would get regular figures there, but the problems that they had at Brighton under Graham Potter seem to be the problems that Chelsea are having at Graham Potter with different players, better players maybe.
Absolutely, and you can't argue they haven't got the strike force. I mean, Chelsea are making 2 prolific goal scorers in the Premier League, in Aubameyang and Lukaku, look terrible. You know, and they need to look at themselves, how they're... I know it's 2 different managers, don't get me wrong, it's not all Potter's fault, it's Tuchel as well. But that control of the game is quite boring. You know, I like control of the game. I like to play progressively forward, get you forward in the game and not passing it forward quick enough. It's very difficult to get the continuity of your team when you go from a 3 at the back to a 4 at the back to 2 in midfield to 3 in midfield, 2 10s. I mean, it's not a science, this game. And Potter keeps talking about it's not about formations, it's about the principles. Well, the principles have to change because you're not a Brighton anymore. You can't experiment. He ain't got time to do that at Chelsea. He loses one more game, Kelly. Everyone's going to be looking at him. That's 3 games then on the spin if he loses. Difficult games coming up. Difficult because they're not playing very well. And who is his best side? If we sat there at the bridge now, we all sit next to each other as season ticket holders, we wouldn't be able to pick the team what he picks. We have no idea where Raheem Sterling is going to play. He's going to play off the right, high on the right. Is he going to play left wing back? I mean, he's not the only one. Everyone is in different positions, and I think they need to get a continuity together, a way of playing. He needs to stick to it because he's trying to keep everyone happy. That's fine. To keep everyone happy, he'd be out of a job. He'd be sacked and everyone would still be happy. You know, because the new manager will come in, they'll wave him goodbye, they'll shake hands for the next one. You need to get your best team as soon as you can. He works hard on that training field, he needs to work even harder. And he needs to start leaving big players out. And unfortunately, that's what being a manager of a big club, you have to make brave decisions and you have to leave players out and you have to deal with the consequences. And I think at the moment he's trying to keep everyone happy, and unfortunately, just recently, are not picking up enough points.
No, it's a sticky patch at the moment for Chelsea. They're not getting much time on the training ground together between matches, but nobody is at the moment. And the problem with Chelsea is loads of them are going off to the World Cup as well, so there's not going to be that opportunity then. Pretty much all of them are off to the World Cup, so there's not that much time for Graham Potter to try and turn things around. But we do know